Welcome back to the main stage at GreenTech, and now we are taking the complexity out of crop growing. And with me, I'm delighted to have Don Kester of Priva. Don, welcome to you.
Thank you, Andrew. Welcome to. Nice to be here.
It's really nice to be here in person.
In person, indeed.
And as you say here in the Netherlands, we are physically distanced, but we're not socially distanced.
That's true.
So it's
absolutely
great.
True.
It's great to be here together. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, crop growers are, of course, absolutely key in the horticulture sector, and really are a linchpin or a fulcrum or the key, if you like, for everything which we're doing here. How does Priva propose to support them even better than they have been done in the past?
Thank you for the compliment, by the way. We saw, actually 10 years ago, our CEO already saw that in the industry we had to change if we want to pursue the mission and vision that we have as a company, to get the sustainable urban deltas, the greenhouses nearby the cities. The biggest problem that we saw already then was that we probably won't have the suppliers, the crop managers to control them. And we saw then at that point we had to change the way that we're going to operate all those facilities with the 60,000 settings. So at that moment, indeed, we came with the solution to say, okay, where can we use all the data that Priva has been collecting for the last 60 years? It's one of the oldest family companies in the industry. And combining that, so Manny said 10 years ago, guys, we have to change that. If we want to pursue the way that we are going to operate these greenhouses, we have to do it different. And I think 5 years ago, and I would mention their names because they are very important to the program, the Planontomy program. That's the founding fathers of Peter Cam and Derek Prince. They were in the lead and still are in the lead of developing this program. Yeah. But of course also with books like Plant Empowerment, with institutions like the WUR, discussing with colleagues, discussing with growers. And that's where we found out that we now have developed something that will make it more easier for the grower to control the greenhouses.
And to become slightly more autonomous, and we'll come to the slightly part of it in just a while, but this is where the idea for Planontomy was born. And the 60,000 controls you're talking about are, in the typical daily life of a crop grower, 60,000 things that he has to, or she has to somehow manage.
Yes. Yes, and I know it because I was a grower myself a couple of years ago. Yeah. And I know how complicated it is, not only to read the crop, but then also have to adjust all those settings to get the job done. And we did see that that was a combination that will not work if we want to expand the greenhouse industry. We saw that we had to change those 60,000 settings as we have now to 6.
6?
6.
6,000?
6.
Just 6?
6. It's
okay.
Just 6, and actually one of the most important one, and maybe on a slide later on in this interview, is just go from the left to the right, make it more generative or make it more vegetative, and yeah, that's what it is. It's a real game changer in the industry. It's really going to bring the industry where it should be.
Well, we'll have a look at the solution in a moment. Let's stay with the crop grower for a moment. And
of course.
I'm glad you can speak from first-hand experience, if you like. I mean, controlling all of those different variables is the one challenge on its own, but I mean, you take a real deep pride and a responsibility as well for your own crops and what's going on, but that kind of dedication really means it's a 24/7, 365 job, isn't it?
Actually, I'm very glad you mentioned that, Andrew, and that's a very good remark because, to be honest, it's not only to take over the controls of the greenhouse and make it more easier. If we want to get people in this industry, the young generation, we cannot expect from them to work 7 days a week, 24/7, as I did when I was a grower, as my father did probably. The new generations will demand something different. They want some free time. Want to go to the soccer game with their school, with their son. And this program will hand out to that. So we are now able to put Planontomy inside of our systems. It's a software system. And we can say to the grower, if you are going to foreign holiday for the next 2 weeks, the program will guide you and will help you that the production of your greenhouse facility will keep continued. And I think that will be the big game changer. It's not only that we will supply the existing crop managers, but there will be a new generation coming in our industry by saying, yeah, but if this is the case, because it's a beautiful industry, yeah. I worked with a lot of fun in it. Yeah. It was a beautiful time. The only thing that always was a problem was that I never went on a holiday for 8 years. I always had to stay focused on the crop management. And now, for the first time, within our industry, we can say, guys, come in, because you are able to go on your honeymoon. You are able to go to a holiday with your friends and still keep the operational running.
Well, we had a panel discussion with the top sector in the Netherlands this morning, a little bit earlier, and that was one of the key concerns, really, moving forward, was being able to attract enough good talent to the industry. Absolutely. So everything which can help to do that is great. But that means basically you're making the crop growers, well, more or less replaceable.
Oh, no. No. I think that's one of the keynotes when you see our main topic line for today, is that I found out, and it was a couple of months ago, I was talking with one of also the investors coming in our industry, and they say, is it true that I can operate greenhouses without people? I'm saying, no, of course not. You're always going to need good people that can read the crop and that can also manage the labor. And it's like in every factory. If you go to the brewery of Heineken, also there are still people working, controlling the quality of the products. And that's the same thing with the greenhouse industry. So that's why the name autonomous is for me sometimes confusing. Mm-hmm. It's a team effort. Yeah. What we did is allow the crop manager still be in charge of the greenhouse. But what we also did is that same person has not changed the 60,000 settings if he wants to adjust something. Yeah. He now can do with a simple push of the button saying, okay, today I want my crop to be a little bit more generative. Yep. And he just puts the bottom a little bit to the left and the computer system will do the rest.
And you're off.
And you're off.
Okay, so it's taking away the burden of being, if you like, in that situation, but leaving the joy and the passion and the expertise, which is highly necessary for it. Okay.
Absolutely.
Shall we hear from a crop grower? I believe we have a video where we can have a bit of a look into the life of someone who's used Priva.
Yeah. It's
Red Sun, is that correct?
Red Sun Farms from Mexico, and
let's have a look.
Great to hear.
Okay.
Planontomy is much more simple, so it will make the life of the grower in one way easy. On the time that it will not pass in front of the computer, he can go and work on the crop, see the crop, have a feeling of how is the climate, and we will achieve a better result. On the other part, for a grower who have experience, we could have in charge more hectares, more kind of crop, because we will have more time to look after the crop or not look after the computer. My big surprise when I see the program the first time, I say it's not possible, it's too simple. Before, as I was saying, something like 100 settings, and now I have 3 tools to do the same thing. So it's amazing what we can do with the technology today to achieve the same thing in an easy way.
So there we go, from the horse's mouth, if you like, how Priva is perhaps too simple to believe to start with, but that's great to hear. But tell us, how is it different, the system which you have, to those, for example, in the Autonomous Greenhouse Challenge? There's some fierce competition there. Where does the Priva system stand out?
That's a difficult question because, you know, for me, I have not a lot of knowledge about the competition itself at that point. I just been viewing our own system for most of the time. So I believe they are doing a great job by using all kinds of sensoring and measuring with all kinds of external tools, as we also do with vision technology and robot technology. But to come to that solution that you are now able at this period and this time to control those greenhouses much more easier, you had to change the settings. If we are going to keep on pushing only on artificial intelligence and on sensoring, it will take another 10, 20 years before we are going to manage those big operations. Because they are doing tests on small operations, which is fine. I believe in it. And I will believe that also will be the future. And also Priva will always will be developing themselves by looking at different possibilities. But we said, and Meini said 10 years ago, within 10 years, I want a program that works now, that we can use now, that growers can use in their industry now and get the young people back in the industry now. So we had to find a solution with the artificial intelligence and all the data that we have collected within all those years, but also find a tool where we could manage to have a program ready now. And that was the biorhythm of the plant.
Okay.
The biorhythm of the plant, which was actually the starting point of the plant existence, we said, why not use that? Why not use that and also the knowledge that we have from the past and develop a program, then we can have a constantly climate control and water management control within the greenhouse. And we did. Peter Kemp and Derek Prince and a lot of other people have been sitting for many years trying to figure out how can we control that biorhythm in a combination with the 60,000 settings that we have. And how can we find those dots on the horizon to combine them all together and saying, okay, this is what we need in our industry to grow further. And that's where Planontomy came out. And to answer your question, it's a difficult one.
Yeah.
And I believe in the things that we are bringing out at this moment. And I hopefully also the listeners and the viewers of this program today will get in contact. And I think we have a very nice solution.
But I've been hearing about the solution quietly for some time. And it feels like you've put a tremendous lot of thought and passion and energy and dedication into this. And really, it's only now that you're actually kind of unboxing the solution. Mostly when you buy a new software for your personal computer or whatever, mostly it's a kind of a beta version and you have to play around with it and put up with bugs and things like that. Is that the reason why you've waited until now, or why did it take so long to get here?
Yeah. I think it's also a little bit in the DNA of the company. It's a company that takes a lot of pride on the position they have in the market. We are a market leader. We have a big responsibility to the growers. And saying that you have something that will take over the steering wheel of the greenhouse, that's a big thing. That's not a small thing. And you have to be absolutely sure you got it figured out. And it also has to do with, I believe, is with the mission and vision that we also have, which you will see with a lot of companies now pronouncing that we have to change the way that we are growing our crops. And we really saw within the last 5 years that we were changing that. We are developing something that makes our dream come true. But speaking out your dream and realize it and making it happen, that's are two different things. But you're right. We should have maybe some years ago say that we were working on some solutions to inform our clients.
Who knows? So, I mean, if you look at the moon landing program, JFK said we're going to do this within the decade. Maybe that was your JFK moment 10 years ago. And then to make sure that the competition back then didn't really get wind of it, we didn't probably hear much until it was actually ready, right?
You're absolutely right, Andrew. And to be honest, we have now developed also a new marketing team. So hopefully within the near future, we will announce more messages into the world where we were working on. But you're absolutely right. In that case, we have...
But it's solid, it's well developed, it's not a beta version. It's a better version, but with double TER.
absolutely. You should work for our marketing team, Andrew.
Someone should put me in marketing. But talking about it being better, is it already in use? Is it already being proven somewhere?
Yeah, you saw this grower, Francois, you just saw on the video. He's responsible for almost more than 80 hectares of greenhouse facilities in Mexico, and he's using it. We have customers in the Netherlands, one of the most highly respectful ones, with very tasteful tomatoes. He's using it. He's really controlling his greenhouse with it. And his growers are very enthusiastic. We have growers in England. It was a funny story because that grower had 2 facilities, and one of his growers was not able to control the greenhouse anymore because of some issues. And he said, I got a serious problem now. I got somewhere in the middle of England a greenhouse with no operator. Please help me, Priva. And we said, yeah, we have something on the shell that and that's 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Are you willing to test that, or are you willing to use it? Yeah. He said, bring it on, because I need something. And we did, and now he's using a lot more of his facilities with the Planontomy. So it's there on the market.
There on the market, and is it ready for other investors then to jump into and use? Yeah.
Yeah, I just been maybe you read it in the news with one of the companies, App Harvest. It's really fascinating to watch Jonathan Webb, is the CEO of App Harvest. People who are now watching, please Google him. He's a really interesting guy. And together with the Kentucky State, they have a vision, and also they are aiming at to be one of the biggest suppliers in the USA, considering the food supply chain, because they have a very big issue with unemployment, and they say we want to go into the horticulture industry. And they're already building now 24 hectares, and they want to expand every year with more and more. But one of the head grower said, Pepe, said, yeah, but that cannot be done because we don't have the right tools for it. Yeah. So a couple of months ago, I had spoken with one of the leading officers there, and I said, don't worry, you can build, you can develop, and we will help you with getting the young people in. We will help Kentucky with develop them with the economy, and we will help you also with creating a good environment for your greenhouse industry.
So there's a whole suite of services that go along with the platform itself, if you like.
Yeah.
Including training, educating, adapting,
absolutely.
consultancy services to get it set up.
Yeah, absolutely. We have our own training company, the Priva Academy, which I'm very proud of. It's really nice to, if you join the Priva, you really have to get a degree by using it, and we do see a lot of enthusiastic from the people. But we also indeed talking with states in Arizona or other states in the world where we are trying to set up places like the World Horti Center. Yeah. And saying, and we can do that now. In the past it was a little bit difficult because we were always had that one issue that we could not get the right people to operate these greenhouses. But that's the past. Yeah. We're going...
Taking it out of the equation.
We're taking it out of the equation.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Let's go into the economics of the solution. And just give us an indication of, it's an investment. I assume it's not an insignificant investment, but what about the revenue, the savings, the return on investment from actually taking on this system?
Actually, what we do see, there are 2 things. I think if you're going to start a big company as a greenhouse facility with 10, 20, 30 hectares, the risk that you just have to focus on a couple of people is also very high. So I think you're taking out that risk. So that's already, I think...
Like we saw with England and...
Absolutely. Yeah. You cannot imagine that you are building factories and you rely on 1 or 2 people. That's, for a lot of big investors, that's, crazy talk. Yeah. I think the other thing is, and that's also what we see with this program, is that they can steer very easily, and that's, for example, in the flower industry, because we're also doing it with a rose grower, and he wants to have a big production during Valentine's Day. We all buy flowers for our ladies and wives back home, at least I have to, maybe hopefully you also. And he's now able to control the program on a very easy way that during the Valentine his production goes up. Mm-hmm. Of course, because of the biological rhythm, the plant has to recover after that. But now he's able to make sure that he has the right production at the right time. And that for him has a big value. Yeah. And I think another one that is very important to mention is that because we are following the biological rhythm of the plant, is that we also more able to predict the production numbers. For example, in Australia, we have growers there. If they produce 10% too much, they cannot sell it because they have contracts.
Yeah.
If they produce 10% too less, they have to pay or buy the other products,
penalties.
or they have to pay penalties.
Yeah.
And with these kinds of programs, we are able to make that much more predictable.
Oh, wow.
So it is an investment, which I believe it's not that high considering the risk you are taking at this moment when crop managers are not able.
Is there a saving made in the resources which you apply in terms of water, in terms of energy?
Yeah. The problem is, and that's something I experienced when I was a grower myself, if I'm going to announce that we are saving energy, we're saving water, I think a lot of people will say, okay, he's the representative of Priva. Of course he has to say that. I think the next couple of months, years to come, we will educate the people, we will put messages out on the field where people can follow the program itself. And they will experience it. Because when you're taking over the driver's seat of some of those greenhouses, people will not just believe my story and saying it saves energy, it saves water. They want to experience, they want to see it. And that's where, if they are going to connect with us, we're going to take them along, we're going to visit greenhouses, and we're going to say, here are the numbers, here are the facts, and you can experience it yourself during the way of the next couple of months or years or whenever you want to start it.
Let's make an appeal at that stage right now. If anybody has a question at home or in the office that they would like to put into the studio here for Don, please let us know. We're going to go into the future in just a moment and talk about where we're going from here. So you talked about taking over the steering wheel. How do you see things going in terms of semi-autonomous growing? Planontomy.
Planontomy. I think we made a big first step today. And I think for the near future, there is a lot of possibilities. Is this the end? No, probably not. Do we still have to develop all kinds of new technology? We, for example, have our delivering robot, Compano, which we can able to put vision technology on. And I think indeed in the next coming years there will be a lot more artificial intelligence coming in our industry. Where it is going and how fast, it's always difficult to say.
And the Priva platform is open for future developments for robotization, digitalization, AI.
Yeah. And the most important thing is, and I think that will be the big game changer, in the previous years, everybody was always working at themselves.
Yeah.
You got Priva, you got all the other different companies, everybody did their own trick. But in Priva we saw, if this industry is going to be this big, is going to grow this rapidly, we have to work together. We have to open our resources, our data platforms, and let other people coming in, other companies coming in, startups coming in. And one big example, within Priva, we have started the Priva Innovation Horticultural Lab. And that's a platform where young people, young startups can join us and where we say, let's get connected.
Wow.
Let's use your brains, let's use your expertise together with us and making the system even better than we did before.
Okay, and the winner of the GreenTech award in the concept area, the innovation area, was about collaboration. So they had joined forces as well with another company and managed to come away with the award, which we heard a couple of hours ago. So how can people actually get engaged, A, with that innovation lab that you just mentioned, and then B, over the next couple of days here at GreenTech?
I think of course they can visit our websites. The website is a lot of information where you can connect within Priva. And also we have departments all over the world, in North America, in Mexico, China, so they can also reach out to them and ask for more information if they want to. And the last coming months to come, our marketing campaign will also do a lot of personal, bringing personal advertising into the field. So I think there will be a lot of connections can be made over the next coming months.
Excellent. And you're free here, of course, at GreenTech through the networking platform. We have, the
of course,
platform.
also.
And your colleagues are available as well in the background, answering all kinds of questions, which is great.
Yes.
We don't have a question, I don't think, from the audience this time right now.
Okay.
But we do have. I'm hearing in my ear that we do have a question or two. So let's see if we can turn to that before we come to your kind of final words and takeaways. So we have a question from Ludovic Klein. I'm sure you can pronounce it better than I can, Don. But CEA gets a lot of public, but also uninformed criticism for energy usage, for offsetting the benefits of low land and water usage. But how can Planontomy and other competitive products help to change this perception about CEA?
I think that has to do also with the prediction that we are now doing with this program. So with this program, we are able to see what the plant is going to use or not use if it combines with energy. So all the energy sources, all the water sources that are being used for fully 100%. And that all has to do that we have found a combination of that artificial intelligence with all the data that we have been collecting, but also by using the biological rhythm. So we can forecast what the plant maybe is going to do with transpiration and all that elements. So that makes the use of the energy a lot less.
Okay.
So there will be a big saving in that. Yes, and also with water consumption and all that, so yeah.
So making that visible, making it more predictable as well, and in the forecasts, you think will help CEA directly?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Good. I don't think we have any more questions, just listening. So if you could just make a very quick summary as to what it is we're talking about right now, why it's good, and what people can do to get hold of it.
I just hope that from off this day, our industry is now able to expand this beautiful industry. Because the criticism was always that we needed some experienced crop managers to handle it. And I think we have passed that time. Within Planontomy, we are now able to get the industry up and running, to get the sustainable urban delta really on the map and move forward. And also I hope that new generations will come into our market, because it's one of the most beautiful industries there is. It's nice to work in. You work with your hands, you work with your minds, you're working with robotics, you're working with artificial intelligence and vision technology, and still you're able to play some hockey or football during the weekend. So I just hope that that message came over, and I'm looking forward with all the people that are wanted to join this industry, that we can help them as much as possible, helping those states, helping the local governments as much as possible, where we can be of help. So that's hopefully the message that I slowly could have brought out today.
Don, Kester, thank you very much for your time this afternoon.
Yeah, thank you, Andrew.
Fascinating presentation, and I wish you much success with Priva.
Yes, thank you very much.
Okay, all the best.
Yes, all the best.